Good afternoon. I am Commander Chad Graham from the United States Naval Academy. I am the chairman of Seamanship and Navigation there. I am here to talk to you about celestial navigation at the United States Naval Academy and what we have done in the past and what we are doing today. So, as a part of our core curriculum, every midshipman had to take celestial navigation to graduate. In about 1998, it started to extract itself from our curriculum. The reliance on technology and changing priorities caused a reduction in the course and then its eventual elimination from our curriculum in 2006. From here on out, you'll see me call celestial navigation CELNAV. I couldn't make an acronym out of it, so the next best thing for the military is we abbreviated it. If we didn't, most midshipmen will fall asleep before we can get out celestial navigation. So we'll just go with CELNAV for the rest of the brief here. So it took about a 10-year absence from our program. We actually even quit doing celestial navigation events at sea on our ships. We became heavily reliant on GPS, and then I think a triggering event was, the first delivery truck driver that put a cigarette lighter-powered GPS jammer in his truck so he couldn't be tracked, kind of opened everybody's eyes that any signal you receive is a signal that can be denied. So we then came back to a resurgence in the Navy. It started probably in 2010, and by 2015, the United States Naval Academy was directed by our Chief of Naval Operations to reintroduce celestial navigation into our curriculum. By 2016, which was our class of 2017, they were the first class to graduate in over 10 years with celestial navigation in their background. So I've graduated 2 classes that now have been reintroduced to it. It is not the course I took where I spent an entire semester. And how can I justify that? How can I say they know anything about CELNAV? And it's what I teach them. I still teach them the principles and theories, but then I teach them the practical way we do it at sea. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And the most important thing that drove us was every ship of the Navy does a day's work in celestial navigation. We do sunrise, sunset, sunsights, meridian passage, and altitude intercept when we shoot our star sights, or celestial body sights. So we all do that, and then if our officer corps is going out to sea and they don't understand what we're doing, that was an information or knowledge gap that we had. So it's been reintroduced. Oh, make sure I get this right. So we teach theory and practice. Celestial sphere, spherical trigonometry, the horizon coordinate system, circles of equal latitude, altitude intercept. I put nautical almanac and strip forms as theory because that's basic. It becomes theory when you get into how we actually do celestial navigation now. We introduce them to those objects, and then in the very next lesson, I introduce them to a program. When we shift from theory into practice, I take them into the planetarium at the U.S. Naval Academy, and we do our best because I don't have an unbroken horizon. We can't really shoot stars accurately from the roof of my building. So we use our planetarium, and it's a highlight, and we can show the stars moving, and we can show the planets and how they move, and we can demonstrate what they should see at night at sea. Then we go over to this program that there's my acronym for you, STELLA, System to Estimate Latitude and Longitude Astronomically. So what I've done is, with this program, we have taken out all the math. We used to spend weeks on strip forms and calculations and corrections. What I can do now is enter my estimated position where I think I am. And if I'm within 100 miles, I'm good enough. And it prints me out a star chart. It tells me all the stars I should be able to see, what their altitude should be, and what their bearing or azimuth is. So now I've got the answer. And then I go back in, I shoot my stars, and I come back in I enter my readings, what I've taken, and it plots my position for me. And so that's how we do celestial navigation at sea. We automated on standalone computers. We're not worried about cyber attack. We have the ability to still continue that method even at sea, regardless if we lose our GPS signals. So that's our theory, and that's the actual practice of what we do at sea, and that's what we teach the midshipmen now. This takes about 7 hours of contact time in a classroom to get through the theory. They are not professional navigators by the time they finish this course, but they at least understand what happens and what is the theory behind what we're doing. So this goes to inform, one more. what I want. What do I want from a midshipman? What is my outcome? First and foremost, I want our sailing team to win the race to Bermuda every year. That's the most important thing. So our sailing team, our offshore sailing team is going to go out there and they run a race where they can only do celestial navigation. And we're running a course right now in the off season to train probably 3 crews and midshipmen how to actually navigate with celestial navigation. They're not allowed to use any GPS or anything on that voyage. And we've won maybe once in the last 3 years, but place at least every time. I want my midshipmen that are going out to be navigators to understand what's going on. And then I want to be prepared when, you know, we're not very far away from automated sights coming off ships, where I can have a little box on the top of my mast shooting stars for me constantly and comparing that to my GPS or my inertial positions. So I want them to understand what's happening in the magic box, what are the calculations, and do they understand? Does it make sense or not? Do we trust the technology or don't we? Do they have the skill set or the ability to at least challenge it and ask the right questions? I get about 600 midshipmen a year that move out and actually get the physical application of taking star sights, suns, using sextants out at sea. They're on our yard patrol craft that run a fleet of about 6 that we send all the way up the eastern seaboard, and when they're out at sea with the unbroken horizons, we do celestial navigation and kind of bring the theory from the classroom to the practical application at sea for our students. And then we also mention our offshore sailing program, and we run that training, not just the race to Bermuda, but we also send groups out about every month over the summer to train. And that's what I want. That's why we teach celestial navigation. We're not always guaranteed the signals that we have come so accustomed to right now with GPS and other events. So how do we fix and understand our positioning is our goal. And that's it for me.